Okay, class had this question here, comes from the lesson. The lesson is titled Word Problem Involving Probability of a Union. Okay, so it looks like it's a big long question. So Mr. Jenkins is about to give one of his students a piece of candy for asking a good question. He's going to choose a piece of candy at random out of a bag and brings it to class. The following pieces of candy are in the bag: 15 apple gumballs, 7 grape gumballs, 9 apple suckers, and 6 grape suckers. What is the probability that a piece of candy that Mr. Jenkins chooses is apple or a gumball? Interesting. Okay, so they talk about the probability in union. So you could do this a couple of different ways. I think what they really want you to do is they want you to draw a Venn diagram. You don't have to draw a Venn diagram. You could do this without it, but I think a Venn diagram helps to sort of create the picture of what's going on. So what we have is we have two events. Two events. So it's kind of hard, isn't it? Maybe we can do a chart instead, because I see it's categorized by apple, grape, and then gumball and suckers. So why don't we do a chart instead? We'll do a chart of, so we have gumball. Oh yeah, let's do that. Suckers. And then here we'll do, bear with me. Okay, so let's do it this way. Okay, so we have 15 apple gumballs. So in the intersection between apple and gumball, we will write 15. Then we have 7 grape gumballs. So we'll do 7 grape gumballs, 9 apple suckers, and then 6 grape suckers. Okay, so the total number of apple, you just add the 15 and the 9, and that gives you 24. The total number of grape is 13. You don't have to do this, but this kind of helps organize. How many gumballs do you have? You have 22 gumballs. How many suckers do you have? You have 15 total suckers. Okay, so now let's focus on the event, what we want. What's the probability that Mr. Jenkins chooses an apple or a gumball? Apple or a gumball. So let's go over here. What's the probability that he chooses apple or a gumball? Interesting. Okay, so we have to use our sort of OR type probability formula, remember, and I made a video on that. I made a lecture style video going over the basics of probability and also talking about the OR style probability. And if you remember from that video, it says probability of A or B equals probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A and B. Oops. So we want to, so A would be apple, B would be gumball. So using that format, we get what's the probability of an apple plus the probability of a gumball minus the probability of an apple and a gumball. Okay, so that's how that translates right there. So now we just have to go through and calculate the probabilities. Okay, so what's the probability? So we're going to do the first one here. What's the probability of picking an apple? And that's why I did the additions. So we have how many apples? We have 24 apples here, okay? Out of how many total things? Out of how many total items? So remember, it's always a fraction. Numerator, denominator. The numerator is how many things you're picking. So we're picking, there's 15 apples that we could pick out of total number of pieces of candy, the total number of pieces of candy. So you add up all the values. So this would be 25 plus 15 is 37. So there's, and then 24 plus 13, it doesn't matter which way you go, 37 is the total number of items. So there are 37 pieces of candy in total in there. Okay, so what's the probability of picking a gumball? I'll go over to the gumball line, and then we get 22 total gumball items out of 37 pieces of candy. And then here for this one, probability of picking an apple and a gumball, what you ask yourself is, how many pieces of candy satisfy both conditions? They're both apple, and a gumball? Oh, that's right here. There are 15 pieces of candy that are both apple and a gumball. So we'll subtract that off. I have a mistake. I can see it. This right here shouldn't be 15. The probability of apple is the total number of apples. 24. This part should be 24. I'm sorry. So now do your addition and subtraction. 24 plus 22 minus 15. Let's see. That's 31 over 37. And that's the answer. Hope this helps. And I do apologize for the error there. I hope it wasn't confusing. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be glad to help.